Hi, Adam. Welcome to Patriarchal Counseling. I'm Bruce. Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. So, Adam, tell me what's been going on. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. So, I guess I'll just start in the beginning. Some say that I struggle with obedience issues. My wife would say that. But speaking of my wife, this all started with her. We've got big problems. Big problems. It's okay, Adam. Everything we say in here is strictly confidential. Tell me more. Please excuse the interruption. Adam, how much longer are you going to be? The boys are killing each other out here. See what I'm talking about? Again with the apple. Wow, Adam, that's a lot of trauma that you have come through. Let me see if I can recap it. So, you don't have any recollection of your mother. Once Eve was in the garden with you, the serpent came along, or really the devil came along in the disguise of the serpent and tricked you guys. You were disobedient to God, and because you ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you were expelled from the garden. Your first kids, or the kids, right? Your first kids, okay. Cain and Abel. Cain has murdered Abel, and there's a continuation of strife and struggling as you have continued to fulfill your calling to be fruitful and multiply, and to fill the earth and populate the earth. Is that about it? Yeah, that's about right. I mean, there's just so much shame from it, right? It's it's awful. I just carry it with me, and really, the only hope is that God said to us that that our descendant one day is going to crush the head of the serpent, and we take that to mean that He's going to take care of this problem we created, this big problem, this problem of sin, and that's our only hope. Are you ready for me? Okay, great. Ooh. Yeah, it's pouring out there. I noticed you flinched at the aquarium there. What's that about? Well, I guess you could say that I have a little bit of PTSD from the flooding incident. And I'll never forget it. And yeah, I mean, we're kind of steady, I guess, now, but certain people have been unkind to me because they think that I drink a little bit too much. And there was an incident. Okay, I drink a lot. I have my own vineyard. It's been a very tense time. And there was some nudity involved that I'm not proud of. Rebellious children, or at least one, who's hamming it up all the time. But yeah, I mean, just to see all those people that were not obeying God. I mean, I know I have my own struggles with obeying God, right? But I mean, everybody except for our family, praise God, right? Everybody else was destroyed because they were so wicked. And yeah, I'm just, trying to overcome that and trying to take on this new role on land. It's a hard time. Noah, it sounds to me like you really need to do some good self-care. You've had a lot going on. I mean, that's a lot of traumatic experiences, and then plus the family problems too, and with your son Ham especially, um, and on top of that, just moving forward and having all of those responsibilities that you mentioned as well. What's the motivation for you? Like, what's the reward? What's the thing that's going to keep you going? Definitely the rainbow. The rainbow gives us hope. Yeah, because God promised, He's never going to destroy the earth the same way He did again. And we're really thankful for that. It does give a lot of hope going forward, knowing that God has made this covenant with us, this promise. And we just want to obey Him and love Him and repopulate the earth, again. And so, yeah, we're working on it. Abraham, it's a pleasure to see you and meet you today. So tell me, what brings you in?
Well, actually, it's a little embarrassing to talk about, but it's about infertility. It's kind of a strange story. I know I'm old, but God has made a promise that He's going to give me descendants that number the stars. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Are you sure there's nothing else, Abraham?
No, nothing. Nothing else I can think of off the top of my head. Well, I struggle sometimes to tell the whole truth be told. And yeah, there was this little incident with Hagar, my wife's servant, and but Sarah's idea, totally into it, right? To maybe fulfill the promise that way. So she and I have had a baby, and causing a little marital strife. But yeah, Ishmael, that's his name. But the good news is that Sarah has had a baby too. Who knew? And we laughed a lot about it. And so God told us to name him Isaac because we laughed. And so, yeah, I think, this promise that God has given us to really, have all these kids that are going to be His people, and they're going to finally obey God and honor God, That's what we want. We want them to number the stars, Yeah, that's like a dream come true. And, but yeah, it's got, some problems along the way for sure.
Abraham, what keeps you going?
What keeps me going? It's the promise. It's the promise of God, right? He's told us what's going to happen, and we didn't believe him. And then it happened. And how can now we not believe him? Right? We want to fulfill that promise because God is really good. And we hope that our kids and grandkids and their kids, that they'll remember that. We want them to remember. Yeah.
Abraham, I'm really glad that you trusted me with the whole truth, because that's a big part of our relationship here, is just being able to have this safe space where you can share the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so help you God. But you don't have to hide things from me, right? Telling the truth is good. And just thinking too about the miracles that God has provided for you, to really fulfill that calling on your life. It is miraculous. And what a great blessing that he has given you, a double blessing. He's given you Ishmael, but also Isaac, and he's going to bless the nations through you. And he's going to fulfill that promise. And it is so encouraging for me to hear about that promise being the motivating factor for you to keep you going in the right direction. I'm encouraged today. So thank you for sharing that with me. And I look forward to seeing what happens. Very nice to make your acquaintance. Moses here. Moses, it's very nice to make your acquaintance as well. I must say, you've got a glow about you. Oh, thank you. I've just recently returned from holiday. Yes, it's very sunny outside. Moses, talk to me. Tell me why you came in today. I personally believe that the root of my problem is that I was abandoned as a babe, and maybe that's the beginning. I was raised in a family, never quite treated as an equal, and had some might say, some significant problems later on. You mean like that time that you murdered the Egyptian? Who told you that? Oh, behave. Yes, okay, but it's been resolved. It's been completely resolved since then. But I think the greater issue facing me today is the fact that I've never really had self-confidence. I will say that I have had God confidence. Truly, I've had God confidence. He's always come through with his promises for me, but also for my people. I've never doubted that. But there are times when I lose my way. And if I lose my way, everyone loses their way. Believe me, I'm with a people that constantly lose their way. And I, as their leader, need help. I need direction. And I will say that going back to God consistently, He never lets me down. He fulfills the promises He's always made. And He's delivered me. He's delivered our people. He is faithful. And I want to pass that along faithfully to the next generation. Moses, what gives you hope to continue to make it through all of these obstacles? What gives me hope? There's a song that we have that it's really like a poem. It says, well, Pharaoh's army was a-comin' too. What do you think that I did do? I raised my rod and I cleared my throat. And all of Pharaoh's army did the dead man float. So I I remember what the Lord has done, but we also have the law. You have to remember that. We have the law. My people, my generation, we received the law. So we know right from wrong. We know what we should be doing if we want to stay close to God. And I really want to pass that along faithfully. And I want to obey God. Isn't that how all of us are ultimately delivered? Yes, it is. Your Majesty, King David, thank you for coming and coming to be with me today. I'm really honored by your presence.
Shoot, now, you don't have to call me that. Just call me David. All right? So, yeah, what did I come in here for? Well, I got to kind of tell you the backstory a little bit. Boyhood was kind of bullied. You know, my older brothers didn't care too much for me, and you know, I tried to prove them wrong when I could, when I got the chance. I mean, one time I got bullied by this, you know, kid from the other side of the tracks, let's just say. He's a big old fella, too. I mean, he's about yay tall. I mean, and I had a rock and I had him slingshot, and man, that king, he tried to, you know, this guy Saul was my boss, eventually became my boss. I'll tell you about him in a minute. But anyway, yeah, you know, he gave me some armor to put on. It was crazy. I mean, it didn't fit nothing. So I was just like, I went out there and said, I know how to do this. I know how to take care of bears and stuff when I'm out, you know, protecting the flocks. So I can take care of this old beast. Shoot, he was talking trash like you wouldn't believe about my people. And I said, you don't do that. That's one thing you don't do. Talk trash about my God and talk trash about my people. So let's just say I took care of business. And he ain't a problem no more. So that was my youth. And then I kind of got in the army. That this guy, you know, that I mentioned, you know, he was the king and he wanted me to work for him and help him out, and I did. But the problem was, kind of got this little competition going on. I didn't want none of it, right? I mean, I didn't try to be in a competition or anything, but you know, we was in wars and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was just crazy. But I will say this: best thing about that guy is his son, because he was my best friend. His name was Jonathan. So, anyways, we was good friends and all, and you know, God was real faithful to us. I mean, we just saw lots of victories and everything. But then I was just getting under his skin, you know, and he couldn't take it. And long story short, he ended up, you know, falling on the field, and his son had already died. My best friend. That was real sad. And yeah, so I mean, lo and behold, who gets to be the king? You know, it was me, and I tried to be honorable, not ornery, honorable, because I wanted to please God through all of this mess. It was a hot mess. And so, yeah, so, you know, we get through the wars and everything. I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to it. About my problems currently. Anyway, so I guess I just got bored. And so I'm like up on the roof at night, and there's no big wars that I'm part of, you know, going on, because I kind of rested a little bit, and all of a sudden there she was in all her glory, if you know what I mean. And her name's Bathsheba. I just couldn't resist. I had problem with lust, let's just say. But the bigger problem came after that, because I found out that she's married, and I didn't know what to do, and she was with child, and I was kind of embarrassed. And so I kind of just lost my mind. I just kind of plotted, and her husband got killed because of me, you know, and it just wasn't good. And you know, I was trying to hide it, keep it secret, right, because I want nobody to know, because I had like this reputation as being the good guy, and here I was being the bad guy. And so, but I kept it hidden, right? But then here comes Nathan, prophet, and he was, I mean, he was shrewd, man. I mean, he came in, he told me this story about a little sheep, and you know how much I love sheep. And basically, somebody did wrong to that sheep, and I said, whoever this guy is in trouble. And then seemed to just pointed right at me, point blank. He had some courage, let's just say, and he told me I was that man. Well, it just wrecked me. It just wrecked me up and down because I thought I can't believe that I've done this. I mean, this is awful. So I tried to do right by Bathsheba, and we got married and everything. But it was bad. It was bad because I did not do right by her husband, and I regret it all my days, all my days. But we just, things kind of were okay for a little while, but then they went bad to worse because a baby died. And I'm just trying to, to honor God, right? And I'm just trying to, I mean, let's just be honest. Like Saul, he was a king, but he didn't have heart, right? But I had heart. I had heart. I love God with all my heart. I did some stupid things, but I still love God with all my heart. And I just, man, it's just a lot to deal with. And I'm just trying to, keep going because I know that I got made the king for a reason, right? I mean, I know I'm purty and all, but it ain't because of being purty that I got to be the king, right? So, yeah, I just need some wisdom. I'm a big proponent of wisdom, right? Because it's good to be wise, and it is not good to be a fool. So, I mean, I'm thinking not just about me, but I'm thinking about all the people. Like I represent the people. And I just want to, I got a long line of people. I mean, my great grandma Ruth, I'll go all the way back. I mean, I can trace it. And yeah, I just want to do them right, but I want to do God right most of all. So whatever advice you can give me today, shoot, I'll do it. That's all I got to say.
David, I really appreciate your courage that you've shown again today to be vulnerable and to talk about things that are really difficult to talk about. A lot of people don't understand, especially religious people, God followers. They don't understand that you can be a really good man and a good leader and a good God follower in many ways, but you can also make really severe mistakes too and still be a man who loves God with all of his heart. And so I appreciate you sharing that and having that perspective. I think you're also a noble man, right? You really want to follow through with the calling and the gifts that God has given you to fulfill your calling, to be a good king and an example of a good king as much as you could be, and really want to follow in the ways of wisdom and not do it half-heartedly and not do it without a heart. But to set that example for future generations too, for your people, like you said, because you come from a long line of people who were God followers, and I am really proud of you for bridging that gap and continuing to help further that wisdom of God and doing it with your whole heart and being a man after God's own heart. So yeah, and I think for all of these different things that you're dealing with and have dealt with, there's great lessons in them, and you seem to be a man that learns from mistakes and is able to take that wisdom forward. So I'm really glad we had this opportunity to talk today. Jesus, thank you for coming in today. It has been a rough day. I mean, I've had some clients with issues and stories that I don't even have all the answers for. Sometimes I don't know what to do or what to tell them. Well, I understand that it's been tough for you today, especially to walk through all of those different woes with them, but I've come that they might have life and have it to the full, because I am the way, the truth, and the life. Why are you glowing? Oh my God. Yes? So there's purpose in all of these problems and all of these struggles? This promise that you gave all the way back? That's what you're doing this for, to fulfill that? I've come to wrap up all of those problems for good. I want to give everybody the ultimate counselor who can help them and who will be with them always to the ends of the age. I want to train them up in the way that they should go, and so that they can be my disciples and they can follow after me with all of their heart, that they can build the church, which is my body, and that they can go to the ends of the earth so that every man can hear this good news. The message has always been the same, yesterday, today, and forever, that salvation is by grace, through faith, plus nothing. And this new covenant that I'm giving in this era will be the last covenant, because it's going to last forever.